Hello good friends and welcome back. In the last video we have seen on how to add the navigation properties in order to get the data from the repository pattern, and we have seen on how to add the repository pattern. And I don't know if you noticed it, but whenever we're getting the data, we're getting the product type and the product brand as the objects. And in order to facilitate our users to use our API in the most easy and efficient way, we need to return these as a single value, or we need to return these as a string so as to be able to go ahead and use them without any complication. And in order to do that, we need to shape our data. And the way we shape our data is by using what we call data transfer object, or the DTO. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to do that. And before we do that, I'm going to minimize my Postman and I'm going to close this terminal. And inside my API project, this is where I'm going to add the DTOs. I'm going to create a new folder and I'm going to call this as DTOs. The DTO will act as now the shape of our data that we need to return to the client. And we are going to construct a class that will have all the properties of the data that will be ready to get consumed. And I'm going to call this product to return DTO, like this one, and press enter. And as we're going to be returning the product, we can use one of the parameters or the properties from the product entity. I'm going to go into my entities. I'm going to choose the product, and inside this class I'm going to copy these all properties, and we will delete the ones that we don't need to use. So I'm going to go ahead and press copy, and I'm going to go into my DTO class in here, and I'm going to go ahead and paste all these properties into this class. Once we are here, I'm going to try to reformat things, and I'm going to also copy these properties so as to be able to call it as ID, as we need to get the ID of the product. And I'm going to give this as an integer, of course, and I'm going to call this as ID, and to help us to get the ID of the product. And also, we don't need to add the complication of this product type as the object. I'm going to remove these referencing properties like this one and this, and we need to return this as strings. And I'm going to call this as a string, and the same for this, we need to make it as a string so as to be able to return one single value instead of returning the object which contains the ID and the value. After we are done with this, it's now time to go into the controller and make the use of this one. So inside my product controller, so let me go into the controllers, and I'm going to go into the product controller, and I'm going to see where we are getting the product first, and we also see on how we can return the formatted data or the shaped data by using the DTO. So I'm going to see where now the return is, and I'm going to remove this. And instead of returning that, I'm going to say that I'm going to return the product, and I'm going to say I'm going to select. And the way I'm going to select this, I will be basing on the DTO. So I'm going to say select, and I'm going to add now this bracket, and inside here we're going to add all the parameters that are contained into our DTO. But before we do that, we need also to change this product to the type of product to return DTO. So I'm going to say product to return. Here it is. I'm going to choose it, and it will automatically import the DTO folder. And after we are done with this, instead of erasing this empty, we're going to add the expression. And the expression that we're going to use to add here, I'm going to say product, and it will go to new product return DTO. And after we are done with this, I'm going to go inside here to inside this object that we're going to create, and I'm going to add all the properties that are needed. And I'm going to start by ID. I'm going to say ID, this will be equal to product.id. I'm going to access the ID. Here it is, and you can see that I can see all the properties in there. So I'm going to continue with the name, and it will be equal to product.name. And I'm going to continue with the description, of course. Description will be equal to product.description, autocomplete. And I'm going to do the same for picture URL, and this will be equal to product.picture URL. And again, I'm going to add the price, that will be equal to product.price. This, and again I'm going to say product brand, and this will be equal to product bland. And when we reach here, we need also to go one level deeper and access the name. And I'm going to say .name, and we are going to do the same on the type. So I'm going to say product will be equal to product type, and we are going to get the name. All right, and after we are done with this, as now we're going to return this one, we need to change the return type, because you can see that now it was trying to return this action result, but we need to cast this into a list. And after we cast this into a list, we need also to, let me bring this to a list. And whenever we are done with this one, we are going now to go ahead and again change now the return type. You can see that it is bringing the errors, and to remove these errors we need to say that it will be a type of list. And in this case we need to match these brackets, and here we go. And after we are done with this, it's now time to go and test if this is working, and we have to copy these parameters into the individual product. So whenever we go back into the Postman and try to get all the products, I'm going to send the request. When you click on send again, you can see that it is bringing this error for the internal server error. And I told you, when you get the errors like this one, the first thing you need to do is to restart the server to see if now the problem persists. I'm going to go into here and I'm going to stop my server and run it again. And once the server is now restarted, we can go ahead and send the request again. And in this case, we can see that we get the success, and you can see that now we are getting this product type as now smartphone and the product brand as Sony. You can see that now our data is shaped, and this can be easy for our client to serve all this kind of data. And as we have done this on the list of the product, we need also to bring the same behavior on the individual product, and nothing fancy. We need to copy these parameters from here, and we need to bring them to the single product. And I'm going to say, I'm going to copy this. Of course, I'm going to copy this from here up to here. I'm going to say copy, and after copying this, I'm going to go back into my product. I'm going to go to where there is this individual product, and I'm going to do the same like I did on there. So I'm going to remove this, and I'm going to first change this to product to return DTO. And after changing that into this type, I'm going to try to return now the value for the DTO that is now shaped. And the way we do that, we are going to say return new, and I'm going to create the instance of this product to return DTO, and inside here we need to add all these parameters that we copied above. As we are getting one single product, we don't need to cast it to anything, so we need to add this semicolon to finish off the statement. Let me see. After now we're done with this, we can go ahead and try to send the request again. So whenever we're getting the product, the individual product, I'm going to go ahead and try to send the request, and you can see that now still it is going to bring these errors, and we need to restart the server, of course, to see if now the problem persists or not. If it does, we need to search for the problem in other areas. But I think restarting the server will solve the issue. So let's go and give it a go and see if it is going to solve our problem. All right, and once the server is completely restarted, I'm going to go ahead and send the request again and see if we're getting the success. And indeed, we're getting now the required outcome. You can see that the server sometimes needs to be restarted so as to be able to populate all the changes. And as we are trying to avoid the messy controllers, you can see that again, we are trying to add many codes into our controllers, especially these mapping stuffs. I'm going to show you how to add what we call automapper. Then the automapper will help us with the mapping stuffs, and you don't need to do this manually. And for the simple case, you can see that it can be doable, but whenever we're getting a lot of entities and mappings, it can be a hell of error of code. That's why in the next video, I'm going to show you how to do better. So see you there and stay cool.